The White House now facing more criticism over its plan to destroy ISIS. The former director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, that's the DIA, saying the White House is confused about who the enemy really is, using a sports analogy to try and explain the current strategy, or lack thereof.
We're kind of like a football team with the quarterback at the huddle, and the quarterback says, ready, break. Everybody's supposed to step to the line, and the team's supposed to move down the field together in a synchronized way, to the goal line to win. I feel like when we say ready, break, all the players that are on the team, they're going off into different stadiums playing different sports.
That with Chris Wallace yesterday. Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger out of Illinois is a member of the Foreign Affairs Committee and a pilot in the U.S. Air Force. Live today from Madison, Wisconsin, where you're on military duty today, sir, and thank you for making time for us today, and welcome back. What do you think of General Flynn's interview? I mean, he basically lacerated the entire policy that's coming out of the administration.
Yeah, I think he's largely right. I mean, you think about it. What strategy has the president articulated? He hasn't. Basically, it seems like the president's made the decision to manage the ISIS problem over the next couple of years, and the next president then will have to come in and deal with it. So, what's the strategy in Syria, for instance? Syria is the incubator of ISIS. That's where the whole problem originated from, and that's where all the extremism is being basically spewed out from. So, we can manage Iraq, we can take back Mosul eventually, but we're going to have much more robust airstrikes. We're going to have to bring the Sunni militias on board, the equivalent of the awakening that we had during the surge. They haven't been adequately engaged, and frankly, the president has not articulated a strategy in Syria except to, in essence, say Bashar al-Assad has to go, but make no move to actually do that. And so, yeah, I think people are confused, and I think rightfully so.
Yeah, let me tick through a couple things, because General Flynn said a lot. He also said Congress has a responsibility here. What is your responsibility?
Well, I agree with him to an extent. We have a responsibility if the president presents us with the use of military force, which I don't think he has to do under the Constitution, but if he does, we have to debate that. We have to give him the leverage he needs to do everything possible to destroy ISIS. The problem is, though, Congress was not created to be the leaders of foreign policy. We can talk about it, and we should debate it. That really rests on the president of the United States. He constitutionally has that responsibility. So, yeah, there needs to be more coordination and discussion between Congress and the president, but there is no leader like the leader of the free world, and it seems like the president, frankly, I was disappointed to see him, have the moral clarity of stand in front of the prayer breakfast and say, well, don't get on your high horse because Christians were bad at one point too. That's not the kind of leadership we need to destroy this cancer in the Middle East that's growing rapidly.
John Kerry said 22% of the areas populated by ISIS have been recaptured. That sounds like success. Is that not the case?
Yeah, first off, I don't know where he gets that number from. I think there's been some gains in Iraq, and there probably have been. And truthfully, we're going to win Iraq. Iraq's going to be liberated. It's just a matter of when. We've won it before. But Syria is the big question. We have seen ISIS growing territory in Syria. And frankly, the president will say something like, well, they can't govern like a government. Well, neither did the Taliban in Afghanistan. And they held on to power until the United States came in and pushed them out. So I think there's a lot of people ignoring the situation in Syria. And that's really where the discussion needs to be, in Raqqa, where their headquarters is. How are you going to stop this cancer? And frankly, I just haven't heard a good plan articulated yet.
Out of Munich over the weekend, Senator Ted Cruz said we should arm the Kurds. He says the Peshmerga, they are ready, willing, and able to fight. Would you support that? Would Assad even allow that?
Well, I absolutely would support it. In fact, I was in Iraq just 4 months ago and met with the leadership of the Peshmerga and the Kurds. We absolutely need to arm them with the equivalent of what ISIS, frankly, stole from the Iraqi military, which is MRAPs and all those kinds of things. But we also need to arm the moderate Syrian opposition, because they're the ones fighting Bashar al-Assad and ISIS. They are engaged in both fronts, and they're in danger of being, frankly, pushed away. And Assad is supported and basically backed by the Iranians, and it's a very bad situation there.
Adam Kinzinger, I hope you come back, okay, because these questions, they're going to be out there for some time, and we'll welcome you back very soon. Adam Kinzinger, we'll talk about solutions as we go through this issue as well. Thank you, sir.